The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Ads with Simon Pound from simonpound.com.
We are talking ads with Simon Pound, the weird, the wonderful, the creative, the amazing, the fabulous world of advertising with Simon Pound, who's in a bit of a white hall at the moment. G'day there, Simon.
Looking a bit dark, isn't it? I'll swing it round.
Well, let's kick it off. What have we got first?
Well, there's been a couple of very interesting advertisements popping up in the last week or so. One that I really like is one that started on Dutch television with what was just a big tease. They played this little excerpt of what looked to be a game show in kind of the X Factor format, with three judges sitting in a line and a guy being really into what his performance was, and then a whole lot of guys screaming, and the end tag was men with talent. And then this had a whole lot of people wondering, oh, what's this about? You know, is there a new TV show coming up on our television that no one's told me about? And what's this men with talent thing? Because it wasn't in their TV guide or Googleable. So all kinds of people in the Netherlands were wondering, what's this thing coming? And then it turned out that it was just a teaser advertisement for a longer advertisement that played with the ideas of the talent quest that are a bit girly. So all of the kind of eating and the crying and the emotion. And so they just took it all out, yoinked it, and replaced it with these male skills of, they're quite silly. They're things like juggling beers and throwing beers at each other and opening beers quickly and blowing songs on beer bottles. And it's just a very funny ad that totally plays with the concept. And it came from the same agency, TBWA over there, that did the Heineken Walk-In Chiller. And that was a really successful ad for them, where it did another one of these things where they played with like a feminine concept and made it masculine. So it had these four women at a party being taken by the host into her room, showing them around, and then she shows them her walk-in wardrobe, which has shoes everywhere and lovely clothes, and it's all very exciting. They jump around, they scream, and they hug each other, and they go, oh! And then you hear this screaming, and it's the four guys inside a walk-in chiller with Heinekens everywhere, doing the exact same things that the girls were going crazy over it, screaming and pointing.
That's certainly a favourite in our household.
Yeah, it's a real hit. So yeah, that's another very cool ad from them. And also I thought it was very cool the way that they did tease it. So they had, half of the Dutch population sitting there going, what is this men with talent? And then it turned out to be an ad.
That one with the men screaming in the chiller, is that a New Zealand ad?
No. They're both from TBWA Naboko,
wow.
I think is how you say it, which is an agency in the Netherlands. And there's even a website that is currently only in Dutch for this campaign, where you can go along and you can see the bios of the fake guys who have these talents, and you can vote on them, and you can see extended video. So it's a full and very cool idea. That I imagine will be rolled out to English at some time, because it's very fun. Another cool ad that's been making the rounds is one for Philips, which is this parallel lines campaign, and it received it's been a big award winner and it's been out for a little while. But the idea of it is that to show the qualities of this new movie size, cinema-sized TV screen, so it's got the same dimensions as a cinema, and it's backlit. They got Ridley Scott Associates, that is a company that makes commercials and music videos and videos and film. They've got directors like Jonas Ekelund, the guy who did the Lady Gaga video, and a New Zealander called Helena Brooks is over there working for RSA, Ridley Scott Associates, which is really a tremendous achievement that she's over there working for them. But they've done this thing for Philips called Parallel Lines, where they made 5 different films using the same dialogue, and the dialogue and the story it tells is a kind of nonsensical, esoteric kind of dialogue around unicorns. And so they just told these directors, go nuts and do what you will. And what they've ended up making is some really beautiful works of film, and it really gets you thinking about interpretation and the role of the director, and it's a wonderful way of kind of transmitting the art form. And so that's a very cool campaign that you can go and get amongst as well. So you can actually get the dialogue and then make your own film, submit it. You can ask questions of the directors. You can do all kinds of very cool things, and there are prizes and all the like. But it's a very cool campaign at the moment.
Cool.
Another, and also although it is worldwide, it is something that you can get amongst from New Zealand, which just is not always the case. And another one that's been making the rounds has been this Google speed test advertisement. So Google Chrome is wanting to show how their new browser Chrome is very fast. And so they've done a series of these very cool advertisements. They did one that was a lovely kind of stop-motion-y animated-y thing. And now they've done one where it's almost like a mousetrap machine where they set it up so in one of them, lightning is made and it strikes a pirate ship, and in another, a salt canister sets a potato through a compressed air gun, which goes through a grater and makes chips, and then it drops into a block of fat, a vat of fat.
Yeah.
And the idea is that these things that they film in slow motion photography happen even though they're going so fast. Chrome bringing up a page is still faster. So it's incredibly arbitrary. I mean, there's no reason that Chrome should be faster than a chip going through a compressed air gun.
Yeah.
It works really well because it's cool to look at and they're very fun, and there's a real kind of artistry and craft to them. And there's a great making of as well that shows that they really did do all this stuff, and it took a little bit of thinking. But yeah, very, very cool and very beautiful way of showing that it's fast, which may not always be the most interesting.
No, well, that's
and
the thing, because it's highly geeky, isn't it? But it's taking something that is highly geeky and making it accessible.
Oh, tremendously geeky. And it's quite amazing that they've actually done it all, which is quite something.
Yeah.
There's a real sense of achievement here. And just a couple of print ads that popped out as well. I saw on this really interesting blog called I Believe in Adv, which is I Believe in Advertising .com. That's I Believe in ADV.com. It's a great resource for a lot of really kind of quirky and very original kind of visual representations end up there. And I don't know if listeners remember, but last year a series of photos taken by a wildlife photographer of these albatrosses on these far-flung islands that kept dying. And the reason they kept dying was because they'd go out feeding and they'd pick up so much plastic refuse from the water. They'd pick up bottle caps, and they'd pick up lighters, and they'd pick up plastic wraps and bits of bags, and they'd swallow them and they'd bring them home. They'd bring them back to their babies in their nests, and they'd regurgitate them to their babies, and the babies would choke on them and die. And so this wildlife photographer was on this far-flung island in the middle of nowhere, and there's just dead birds everywhere, and they rot and they decompose, and you can actually see their stomach, the inside of their stomachs, because obviously when they rot and decompose, the plastic doesn't. And there's all these amazing photos of these dead birds with these bits of plastic and kind of human debris inside them. And they're really affecting. And it just goes to show that sometimes what they've done here is that the Endangered Wildlife Fund, an advertisement for them, has just taken the exact image, not altered it, not mucked around, and just chucked the wildlife logo on it. Which goes to show that sometimes advertising is as simple as lifting something from the pop culture, or that's done the rounds, or it's become a little bit of a thing that's passed around, and making it into an advertisement. And then as one last thing, if we have a second, is a couple of really cool little visual representations that I saw on the site. One of them was for a glue, and the idea was that this glue helps to extend the life of your possessions. And so the clever clogs who came up with these executions, they took a porcelain ballerina figurine, and you can see that it's been repaired so it's kept going. And instead of it being a young, beautiful, winsome ballerina, it's actually an elderly ballerina with a funny thing. The next vision is G.I. Joes, but instead of being young virile G.I. Joes, they've got walking sticks and are elderly. And so this idea is that this glue extends life, which is just such a cool picture.
Very, very nice. Simon Pound. All those links you'll be able to find once again up on Simon Pound's blog, simonpound.com, and even over at with the lovely people over at stoppress.co.nz as well. Cheers, Simon. We'll see you next time.
Great. Cheers, mate.